Hello, dear students. I'm going to begin a new series of lectures on the subject paleobotany. Paleobotany is yet another subject which is taught in the undergraduate level in Indian universities as well as in postgraduate level also. So it will be in some semester, I don't know, it may be third, fourth, or maybe any semester, depends on the particular university. Whatever the case may be, it includes several topics like there are several terminologies, the definition of that are important, and then after the introduction there will be the types of fossils. There are on the basis of their mode of preservation, types of fossils. This is a very important question that comes, and then we can talk about the conditions for fossilization, the importance for fossils, and then how do we name fossils, that is nomenclature of fossil parts. And then we can talk about the stratigraphy and stratigraphic correlations based on the index fossil, based on the type of fossils that is found in the stratum. And then we can talk about the geological time scale and the evolution of plants. I will particularly talk about the plant. We can later on amalgamate with the paleogeology if time allows, or if I can feel so. So let's begin with the first, that is the introduction. So paleobotany is a subject that deals with the fossils of plants, plant fossils. So basically it's a branch of a broader subject that is called paleontology. So that is being divided into two components, paleobotany and paleogeology. Paleogeology will of course be dealing with animal fossils. Now there are many terminologies, as I told you. A couple of them or a few of them is like this: the paleoecology, the first it comes, the paleoecology. So it's an ecology of the geologic past, of the then surviving plants and animals. So what is ecology? Ecology is the study of the interrelationship between the living beings with the environment. So the interaction or interrelationship between the then living beings, prevailing plants of the geologic past with the existing environment of that time is called paleoecology. For example, if you find a fossil, if you somewhere you find a leaf fossil with cuticle and sunken stomata, then you can infer that the plant used to grow in a xeric environment, xerophytic condition, because xeric environments causes this kind of evolution. Sunken stomata, cuticle will be thicker, and if you get a stem portion, maybe petrified wood, and you get some annular rings on that, then you can infer that the plant grew in a region where seasonal variations were there. So this kind of study is called paleoecology. Then it comes the paleofloristics. The floristic studies about the distribution and migration of plants. So migration and distribution of pre-existing plants, the extinct plants, will be called the paleofloristics. It is done on the basis of mostly the microfossils, the pollen grains and the spores that you get in the sample, in the soil sample, in the earth crust. So you have to collect samples from different regions, and then you have to prepare slides from them and to observe under the microscope to see the frequency of spores and to trace the path from where to where the particular plant species shifted in the course of its migration, and where was its origin, or where was it most predominantly present. So this kind of study is called paleofloristics. Another one is paleopalynology. So we talked about palynology in a series of lectures. You can go back and see that. There are 9 lectures on palynology. So palynology is a study of pollen grains and spores particularly. So pollen grains and spores of the fossil plants, the fossil pollen grains and spores rather, the study of that will be called paleopalynology. Everywhere there is a paleo word, that means you are dealing with a fossil object. So now, what is fossil? So fossils are in Latin it is called fossilis or fodere, which means to dig out something from the earth crust. Since fossils are formed below the earth crust due to sedimentation of rock forming materials, so it becomes embedded within the stratum. So you have to dig it out to discover some fossil. So that's why the name is like that. But scientifically, fossil, according to Skov, 1975, he says that he defines fossil as any evidence of pre-existing life forms which is older than the Holocene period. Similarly, Stewart, 1983, he also defines that the evidence of life forms of prehistoric time period. Here, prehistoric and Holocene. Holocene means the recent epoch, about 11,700 years. Since 11,700 years till now, this time period is called Holocene epoch. It falls under the period Quaternary, the most recent period. So anything which is present within this time period is under the process of fossilization. It has not completed, it will be partially fossilized. So these kind of fossils should be called subfossil rather than fossil. Fossilization is a slow process that takes time, and most of the organisms, when they die, they decompose, and very rarely the organisms they find a suitable place where physical and chemical disturbances are less, microbial activity is very slow. Under such situation, fossilization occurs, and there is always a chance that the plant or the animal part will get disturbed because of this physical or chemical or any kind of turmoil in the earth crust. So that's why we get fossils not so frequently. So whatever the case may be, it takes a longer time. So you cannot say an immediately dead organism as fossil. It has to stabilize. Initially, it will go at decomposition. The harder woody portion, or in case of animals, the tissues which have already absorbed minerals like the bones, they will get preserved at certain place. If by chance they fall in a river basin or in a lake where there is sedimentation as well as anaerobic environment, we'll talk about these particular conditions of fossils in yet another lecture. But here a little bit of that, I'm giving hints that under such situation fossilization occurs. So it will take maybe thousands of years, maybe 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. So according to Stewart, 6,000 years has been considered the prehistoric time period, since when we get the historical records is considered to be 6,000 and within that time period. Beyond that, older than that, is prehistoric time period. So any living evidence of living object you are getting of that time, even it is a trail or trace of an animal, that will also be called a fossil. So this was introduction of the subject paleobotany. In the next lecture, we will talk about the types of fossil based on the mode of their preservation. Thanks for watching.